There are stories about what happened.
It's true. All of it.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Mailbag. I'm very excited to be sitting down talking some Star Wars with you guys. Just a heads up real quick, this may not be a very long episode. I'm only answering 3 questions this week, mainly because I've got a lot of stuff I've got to get set up for some announcements. I will let you guys know what's coming at the end of this video, but I've got some stuff I'm working on. I've got to have time to work on that. So this is going to be a shorter episode. I do apologize for that. But before we get into the Mailbag segment, I want to give a shout out to Wyatt Peelman, who won our monthly Facebook giveaway. He did win a hardback copy of Star Wars Last Shot. Very, very excited to be getting that out to him. And I already got his information. And that is coming out to you very soon, Wyatt. Guys, if you want to jump in with the giveaways on Facebook, just go check out our Facebook page. Just simply look for Star Wars Canon Library. You'll find us there. It's easy. And the last Saturday of every month, we do a giveaway and a live Q&A. Now, for the next 2 months, we won't be doing that. The next time we're going to be doing one is July. So I'm going to be busy through the months of May and June. I could probably schedule them and make them work, but I'm not going to schedule it and then they not work out. So the next one will be in July. Make sure to tune in for that. And I'll put out a Facebook event well in advance. That way you guys can start getting questions in and you know when to tune in on the live show. So with that out of the way, I also want to let you guys know that in the month of July, the giveaway for that month will be a hardback edition of Thrawn Alliances. I'm very excited about that one. So make sure to tune in, guys, for your chance to win a hardback copy of that. Without further ado, let's jump into Mailbag. Like I said, I've got 3 questions this week, and I'm not going to dwell on it very long, so let's just jump right into this, shall we? Question number 1 this week comes from Maximilian Schrader. I think we answered one of his questions a couple weeks ago, and he says, what are your thoughts on the announcement of Star Wars Resistance? Thanks for the question, Max, and actually, you were one of several people who sent this question in, and I figured this would be the main topic of this particular video. I talked a little bit about it on Saturday's live Q&A, but I'll touch on it here as well. I'm very excited about it. Now, the animation style, I think, is going to... It's not an anime, but it's anime-esque, and I'm not real big on anime. Kirsty is. My buddy Kyle is. I'm just not into it. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to watch it. I'm still gonna. I know people were complaining about the animation style for Rebels compared to Clone Wars, which they always said Rebels looked weird, Clone Wars didn't, and I always thought it was the other way around. And I always said the animation doesn't matter, which is true. The animation does not matter. So I'm very excited to give it a shot. At least they said it's gonna be it's inspired by World War II dogfighting, the planes dogfighting stuff like that. So I'm very excited to get into it and to see what it's going to be. Now, the series takes place between the novels Bloodline and the film The Force Awakens. There's like a 5 or 6 year period there where we don't really know a whole lot of what was going on. We know the First Order was starting to come to power, and we know the Resistance was formed at the end of Bloodline, spoiler alert. But we don't know a whole lot other than that. We know BB-8's going to be in it. We know that we're going to have Poe Dameron make a cameo or two, Phasma, and they're going to be voiced by Oscar Isaac and Gwendolyn Christie. So I'm kind of excited to see where it's going to go. Now, somebody asked me on the live Q&A if I thought Luke might pop up, and I don't think so. We don't know exactly where the event of Luke and Ben happened in the timeline yet. We don't have any details on that. We know it was after Bloodline. We know it had to have been somewhere about, I'm guessing it's about halfway between Bloodline and Force Awakens. So this series is probably going to take place right on top of that. Now, the other thing I said about this series is that it's probably going to be a very Rogue Squadron-esque show. This is going to be the show that it features the pilots of Star Wars, right? Which is really, really cool. I'm excited. And I think Richard J. Said something about he thought it was inspired by that kind of anime TIE Fighter short that was released not too long ago, which it did. It does sound like it's going to be a callback to that. I'll let you guys know my thoughts more on that once the trailer drops. And it's coming this fall, which is really a surprise to me. I really thought it was going to be next year before it released. But since we're getting Solo in just a few weeks, and we don't have anything coming out in December this year, it makes sense to have this ready to go for fall of this year, so we have something Star Wars to kind of tide us over until Episode 9. So I'm very excited about it, and like I said, I'm willing to give it a shot. Whether I like the animation or not doesn't matter if the story is good or not. So I'm not going to let it throw me off at all, but I will let you guys know more as trailers drop, as we get more news on it, some more info. I'm very, very excited about it. Question number 2 this week comes from Oscar Griffith. And Oscar says, how do you feel about Avengers Infinity War taking the opening weekend record from The Force Awakens? Big fan, wish you had more subs. Thanks, Oscar. I appreciate it. I know this is mainly a Star Wars channel, and lately, over the last couple months, there's been a lot of questions about Infinity War. So, just so you guys know, Kirsty and I went and saw... I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to drop any spoilers. Kirsty and I went and saw Infinity War this past Thursday night. Right. So, anyway, for those of you that don't know, The Force Awakens had the record at that point of domestic box office opening weekend, which was, I think, $248 million, and Infinity War clocked in at $250. So that record has been broken. And Infinity War made a crap load of money this weekend. Like, it's stupid amounts of money. I'm okay with it. I know, like, my first love is Star Wars, right? That's my first love. That's what I will always be. My first love is Star Wars. But I'm a geek all the way around. So I like Marvel. I like DC. Yes, guys, I do like DC. But I'm a general well-rounded geek, I guess you could say. So I was really, really excited about Infinity War. As a matter of fact, my hype for Infinity War was on par with that of any Star Wars movie I've gone to see, including The Force Awakens. So I was chomping at the bit. It was another one of those big movie events. I was very, very excited to be a part of that. Like I said, I'm okay with it breaking the record for The Force Awakens. That record wasn't going to stand forever. And if it's going to be broken, I'd rather see it be broken by something like an Avengers movie than something, say, like, 50 Shades of Grey, which would never have happened, obviously. But if they'd come with 50 Shades of Grey, come out and had been like, well, they broke the box office record for, the Force Awakens had, I'd have been calling bullshit, to be completely honest. I would have been raising some questions about that, but the movie definitely deserves it. I don't know, and this isn't a review for Infinity War. I'm not going to turn it into one. But the difference between Star Wars and Infinity War is this. I don't know if Infinity War has what's the term I'm looking for? Rewatchability as Star Wars does. Infinity War didn't seem like the kind of film that you really just want to sit down and watch over and over and over again, like Star Wars does. And now that's just me. Somebody else might be like, yeah, I want to watch Infinity War over and over and over again. More power to you. But to me, it didn't seem like it. So I don't know how well Infinity War is going to do in the long run. I still don't think it's going to break Force Awakens' record for total box office, global box office. I don't think it's going to. Now, granted, Infinity War hasn't even opened in China yet. It doesn't open for another 2 weeks, right? So, and China is usually the biggest pulling for cash for something like that. So we'll have to wait and see what it looks like. But I really don't see it beating The Force Awakens. Force Awakens was over $2 billion if I remember right. Force Awakens made over $2 billion. And every Avengers film so far has broken, I think it was 3.5, 3.4, something along those lines. So God, it's going to have to double its numbers from the last two films to beat The Force Awakens. So I doubt very seriously it's going to touch that record. But I love the fact that it beat The Force Awakens, to be honest. It's really cool to see that there are more and more people wanting to go out opening weekend to see these films. Because when I was a kid, man, being a nerd, that was a social death sentence. You know what I mean? And you had to keep that in the closet. And you did not let anybody know that you were a geek and a nerd. I made the mistake of letting it out. So, but now to see that it's kind of coming full circle and seeing people really embrace that culture, it's really, really cool. Because it's mainly the same demographic between Star Wars and comic fans. But I'm over the moon that it broke it. It's awesome. It's well deserved. Especially considering that was a film that was building up for, everybody says 10 years. It was building up for 6. They weren't going towards Infinity War until after the first Avengers. they weren't. Even Kevin Feige has come out and said once the first Avengers broke and we saw everybody's reaction to Thanos, that's when we were like, we got to do this giant, you know, I mean, they were already connecting everything, but that was when they made Thanos the one that they were leading up to. So, yeah, it's well deserved. I'm hats off to you, Marvel. I'm absolutely over the moon for you. Thanks for the question, Oscar. And the third question this week is one that doesn't have really a whole lot to do with canon, but I thought I would touch on it. And the question comes from Kat Redding. And Kat says, this isn't really a canon question, but why is it in Star Wars there's no continuity with how certain things look? For example, Anakin's lightsaber, it changed how it looked between every film. Is it meant to be this way? And why? Thanks for everything you do. Thanks for the question, Kat. And yeah, Luke's lightsaber, Anakin's lightsaber, Rey's lightsaber, that particular hilt did go through quite a few changes in Star Wars. Obviously, look, we got to start with A New Hope because that was the original Anakin's lightsaber, or Luke's lightsaber, right? That lightsaber was made from an old Graflex flash handle for a camera. And they threw a calculator bubble in the clip where it actually mounted to the camera and threw some windshield wiper grips on it and went with it, right? And that became iconic as Luke's lightsaber. Some people don't realize that between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, that lightsaber had some detail changes. And some of those changes where they took the calculator bubble out and they put in like this motherboard looking thing. They added another knob on the upper receiver of the hilt, and they added some pop rivets around the bottom of the grip, right? And not a lot of people really realize that there was that much of a difference between them. Now, the next time you see that saber, as the films were coming out, was Revenge of the Sith. That was when we actually saw a prequel version of that lightsaber. Now, remember, when they made that lightsaber, they were trying to get to where it was in A New Hope, what it looked like in A New Hope. They were trying to pay homage to what it was, have that nostalgia factor, but still at the same time, make it kind of fresh and clean and new and more elegant looking, right? So we got this. They added some gold splash to it. They made it, the fins on the top corner maybe a little more solid than what they were in the old hilt. They got rid of the pop rivets. It didn't obviously have the D-ring belt clip. It had a Comtech clip. Some of the details around the center of the saber were different, stuff like that. They just made it more elegant looking, right? The next time we see that saber, as the films were coming out, remember, is The Force Awakens. And if you look at the saber, obviously it's going to have more of that classic feel to it, right? The classic Luke Skywalker feel. But some of the details are a little bit different. It's almost like they took the A New Hope, the saber from A New Hope, the saber from Empire, and melded them together to get the saber for The Force Awakens. Is really what it looks like as far as the details go. Because if you look at the Empire saber had those two knobs on the top, kind of offset from each other. And Force Awakens, it's back to what it looked like in A New Hope, but it still has the same activator switch as what the Empire one had. It still has a D-ring, obviously. So, do these details matter? Not necessarily. They really don't. And also, the saber from The Force Awakens did look identical to what it did in The Last Jedi. It had no changes between it, or between those two films. But it is an interesting question why they changed stuff like that. Now, with the prequel version of it, we're going to put that aside for right now. The actual Anakin version, we're going to put that to the side for right now and focus just on the main three from the classic trilogy and the sequel trilogy. Why did it change from A New Hope to Empire? We really don't get a whole lot in canon as to why it changed. We don't have any instances, of Luke really tinkering with his lightsaber and changing different things on it. However, we do see in canon that he gets a hold of other sabers and he takes them apart and try to see how they work, stuff like that. So over the course of 3 years, yeah, he's probably going to tinker with it and change some things here and there. It's like your car. You know, if you hang a set of, let's say, Mardi Gras beads from your mirror, right? Somewhere down the road, you're going to take them down and put something else up. You just get bored with it. You want to change some stuff around, you know? You rearrange your bedroom because you just want it to look different. I don't know, to be honest. I really don't. Maybe they're upgrades. Maybe what he came across made his saber, you know, more universal. Something along those lines, right? Details to me don't really matter. However, they're not explained, especially between Empire Strikes Back and The Force Awakens. Because where was that lightsaber the whole time, right? So the last time we saw it was going down that pit on Bespin, and then all of a sudden Maz Kanata has it in a chest on Takodana. And it's different. Some of the details are different on it. Did Maz change it? Did she change some stuff around and upgrade it? Now let's look at Anakin's lightsaber, right? Like I said, it started off looking as, it's had some gold accents to it and stuff like that, which is fine because even Obi-Wan says it was a weapon for a more elegant age, a more civilized age. Everything was a little more elegant in the prequel, so you kind of had to add that little artistic stroke to that lightsaber for that time period, because by the time you get to the classic trilogy, it is a very worn down galaxy. Everything's very used. Everything's very almost industrial looking in some places. So it makes sense to have the saber kind of mirror that, right? And then when you get to to Empire, then it changed again, and then from there to Force Awakens and Last Jedi. I don't think it has anything to do with anything in the story. I don't think it doesn't even really matter. Because even Vader's saber changed between all three films, between A New Hope, Empire, and Jedi. It changed between all three. So, which the A New Hope one was the best looking saber. Which was Anakin's saber from Episode 2, minus some black details. It was a nice callback to that too. But it's all they do that. The reason Anakin's saber looked as much as it did in The Force Awakens, in A New Hope, is because they were trying to add that nostalgia factor and link the original trilogy to the prequels. They were trying to show that continuity bridge. Obi-Wan had it in a box for 18 years. He's probably going to tinker with it and change some things here and there and get rid of some of the gold on it and everything like that. Obi-Wan, I guarantee, Obi-Wan did not let that set in a box for 18 years and never pulled it out to look at it. I promise you that. He was tinkering with it. Why else would the belt clip have changed? Why did he get rid of the contact clip and put a D-ring on it? Stuff like that. I don't think these are questions we're supposed to ask. And really, I don't know the reasoning behind why the filmmakers and the prop builders decided to change little details on it like that. I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe it's just them putting their signature on it, saying, this is the saber I made. I'm looking at it as, because of these details, I can tell you instantly what film and who owned that lightsaber and what it's from. I can tell you instantly. If it's got gold on it, it's prequel. If it's got the calculator bubble on it, it's A New Hope. If it's got two giant knobs on it, kind of offset with a motherboard looking on it, it's Empire. Anything other than that was sequel trilogy. So thanks for the question. It's a really, really good question. I hope I answered it to some degree for you. But that's something I never really thought about. And I'm glad you brought it up. Guys, let me know in the comments section below. Why do you think they change stuff like that? It doesn't matter. But maybe to some people it will. Let me know in the comment section. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. And like I said, guys, this is going to be a shorter episode, so I'm going to sign off. We did our 3 questions already. Keep in mind there is a break coming up. Like I said, we're not doing monthly Q&As for May or June. It's because of the occupation that I have. I'm going to be predisposed with them for a while, so I'm not going to have time to come in here and sit down and make a video, edit it, and upload it. I'm just not. Unless we get a rain day or something like that where I get to come home early, I might sit down and try to bang out a random mailbag episode. So, but just because I'm not making episodes does not mean I'm not coming back, and it doesn't mean you guys shouldn't keep sending your questions in to StarWarsCanonLibrary@gmail.com. Keep them coming, guys. I will go through them, and I will keep making episodes. And I'll let you guys know on Facebook. If you guys go over and give that a thumbs up and a follow, I'll let you guys know on Facebook what's going on, when I'm planning on coming back. When I come back, I'm coming back with a vengeance, guys. It's going to be my Phase 3. I'm going full on Phase 3. So me and Kirsty are in the process of actually buying a house right now. So I'm hoping by the time I get done with harvest and then get everything set up with the new house, I should be starting my Phase 3, which I can actually, I'll have my own room, guys. I share a room with Kirsty's art stuff right now. I will have my own studio. I'm so excited. I can do whatever I want in there. But I'm thinking about actually setting it up like a show, kind of the way the Canon library started originally, with the kind of table we were sitting and everything like that. I'm thinking about it. Let me know, guys, what you guys think. So, and also coming in September for our Patreon supporters, I will be doing an audio-only podcast once a week talking about all the upcoming canon, everything that came out the week before, any and all Star Wars news. We'll be talking about it. I'm not quite sure who I'm going to have join me for that yet. I may have Chris Stolle on. Yeah, you guys know him from Journal of the Jedi. And maybe a couple of surprise guests. And speaking of surprise guests, I do have a very special surprise lined up for the 3-year anniversary show this year. I'm sitting on it this year. I'm not telling anybody about it. I don't care who you are. I'm not telling anybody about it this year. I even told Richard J. I wasn't telling him. And I got called some names. So, but keep in mind, guys, that is coming. I'm talking about the break. There is a break coming. So if we go a few weeks where I'm not posting anything, don't freak out. It's just because I'm predisposed at work. I will be coming back. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys want any more information concerning any Star Wars canon, make sure to visit StarWarsCanonLibrary.com for an entire chronological timeline of all things canon, cover art for every novel, every comic book issue, every film poster, a list of upcoming canon. And like I said, make sure to check out the Facebook page. Give us a thumbs up there. Give us a like. Richard J is doing a great job running the Facebook page. And also, like I said, check out our Patreon. Just go to Patreon and search for Star Wars Canon Library. We're really, really hard to miss. If you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. If you really liked it, hit that subscribe button. I'd sure appreciate it. Until next time, guys, this is Brian signing off. And may the Force be with you.